What's going on, y'all? It's JD PicKell. Today on the Hard Count, if Dillon Gabriel and Quinn Ewers were to be in the Heisman race, what would have to happen? Welcome into CFB with JD. You know the drill. Everything you know and love about college football happens here on a nearly daily basis. Jack McKenzie doing the heavy lifting, help drive the show at my Twitter page, at JD PicKell. Now, I cannot stress that enough, and that's not just for my own ego, but in order to contribute to the conversations, follow me on Twitter at JD PicKell. So we posted a tweet not too long ago, said, what are your dark horse Heisman candidates? Got a lot of great options. Heard everything from Anthony Richardson to Deuce Vaughn, but two names continued to circulate, continued to get buzz in relation to that tweet, and it was Quinn Ewers, obviously the quarterback at Texas, and then Oklahoma's quarterback, Dillon Gabriel. Now, as the odds stand currently in Las Vegas, Caesars Sportsbook has them both at plus 4,000. Now, crazier things have happened. It's college football, the greatest game, the most unpredictable game in history. We decided to say, okay, if this were to happen, if they were to surpass those 4,000 odds, what would have to happen? And so we'll go player by player, and we'll sort of break down both scenarios, but there's a lot of parallels between Ewers and Gabriel, more than you might think. Of course, they're both Big 12 quarterbacks, also both transfers, also both going into programs that are in a lot of ways transitioning, with Texas kind of revamping their culture, revamping their locker room, their second year under Sark. They did a lot in the transfer portal, especially on offense. Oklahoma, brand new head coach, brand new system, brand new offensive coordinator. So there's a lot of things moving around, a lot of shuffling, if you will, within both programs. And obviously, like I said, both these quarterbacks, brand spanking new to the program. Ewers obviously was committed to Texas, Ohio State, and then goes back to Texas, eventually ending up on campus. Gabriel goes to UCF, commits to UCLA, and then eventually finds his way to Oklahoma with his guy, Jeff Lebby. So the formula to me is as follows when it comes to the Heisman Trophy. It's not necessarily the best player in college football. It's more so Heisman moment. Mixed in there, in parentheses, you got the schedule. Second piece is big stats. So you got to put up big numbers. And the third piece is your team needs to be in the hunt for national title, more specifically, for the sake of this conversation, for the timing of the award, the college football playoff. So in terms of that Heisman moment, again, slash schedule, both could do it in the Big 12 title game. Assuming this happens, assuming one of them is in contention for the Heisman Trophy, they could have their Heisman moment in the Big 12 title game. In relation to the regular season, I'm looking at what's the biggest game on both these guys' schedule. For Ewers, he has the unfortunate reality of his biggest game being Alabama in week 2. Now, aside from it being Alabama, that's unfortunate, but hey, you slay the giant. That looks good. The thing I'm worried about is if they win that game in week 2, what does that say about Alabama the rest of the way? Does that win start to look a little bit more rugged as the season draws on? I think that's a long shot. But again, we're playing this scenario out. But let's say they win that game. Come November, is that not a little bit too late for some of these people who are voting on the award to remember that? Does that not feel a little bit dated when other guys are having their Heisman moment in rivalry weekend? We'll see. So that's one thing I'm worried about. The biggest game for Ewers in Texas is going to be November, I believe it's 25th. They host Baylor. Now you need Baylor to continue to play at the level they played at a season ago and be in Big 12 championship kind of form. But that would be the big game for Ewers to have his Heisman moment. If Baylor doesn't fit the bill for whatever reason, I don't love his Heisman moment being in week 2. But that's the formula for me. For Dillon Gabriel, it's a little bit more structured in my mind. There's a little bit more going his way in the sake of a Heisman moment. He gets to play Oklahoma State at home November 19th, the second to last game of the season. This could be a launching pad. Again, it's a little bit dependent on the opponent. Oklahoma State's got to bring the juice, but to have a rivalry game at home, so it's already the crowd at your back, for him to pop in a game like that, which in a lot of cases, and if history tells us anything, it will have some sort of impact on the Big 12 championship race. That would be huge for Dillon Gabriel. That'd be huge for his resume. The second piece, like we talked about, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Both these dudes have to put up big stats. If I'm Quinn Ewers the thing that he has to do effectively is distribute the football to a lot of different guys. Because what I'm worried about is he has two phenomenal playmakers on his offense. And that can help him in terms of getting the award, but when it comes down to voting season, these dudes might be stealing your awards. So if Xavier Worthy's going for 200 yards a game, we saw it a couple years ago with Devontae Smith and Mac Jones, you're going to end up splitting votes. So if he wants to win the award, everybody's got to see the football. Healthy dose of Jaleel Billingsley, healthy dose of Bijan Robinson, healthy dose of Worthy, hitting Ayor over the top a few times. Got to make sure that the ball is getting to a lot of different guys for him to put up big stats, for him to ultimately get the votes that he needs when it comes to voting time. And for Gabriel, it's almost the opposite end of the spectrum. He needs to have some guys step up. I'm looking at this lineup. You got Marvin Mims. That's really one of the only proven commodities in terms of big-time weapons on this offense. You know, we left Theo Weiss Jr. We did a chalk talk on him. We think he can ball. We think he's going to pop quite a bit, but he needs to pop in a big way for Dillon Gabriel to be able to put up the numbers that he needs to put up. The thing I'm worried about just a little bit, in Jeff Lebby's scheme, they like to run the football. They like to run and pound the rock and get that defense on their heels to eventually hit you over the top. What happens if you got a back that's popping too much? And then Dillon Gabriel's touchdowns go a little bit more into the dumps than they would be if they're airing it out. So to be able to be effective and to be able to put those stats up that he needs to put up, run the ball enough but not too much, have some weapons step up. And I think everybody that is, how do I rephrase this? Everyone that thinks that there is someone else winning the award, or the biggest case I think you can make against both these guys, is the college football playoff conversation, especially with Texas. 5-7 a year ago, they need to run the table to be able to have a shot, for Ewers to have a shot, I should say, to win the Heisman Trophy. So let's say the offense hums, right? Let's just say the offense puts it together like they did a year ago. Let's say Ewers steps in, gets it going. The defense has to pick it up. The defense has to keep their end of the bargain for Texas to be in this one-loss conference champion conversation. Because, again, they got Bama week 2. That's going to be a tough game to win. But if we're playing out this theoretical scenario, the defense for Texas needs to be able to carry this team a little bit more than they did a season ago. A little bit more doesn't really sound right, but they need to be able to hold up their end of the bargain, just like I said. For Gabriel, team needs to be able to mesh under Brent Venables. I happen to feel like they have a lot of the pieces. I think they have a lot of the ingredients for Gabriel to be successful. I already mentioned the numbers thing has to happen in terms of him putting up stats and him being able to get his on the stat sheet. But as a team, I think they're actually in a little bit better position. A little is probably not the right word. They're in better position than Texas, but will they be able to put it together under Brent Venables as quickly as they need to? We're going to be able to see. So the schedule shakes out more favorably for Gabriel. Talent-wise, I think a lot of people would take Ewers over Gabriel in terms of just throwing out there with the T-shirt and shorts on. We're going to be able to watch it happen. But again, the formula is Heisman moment, big stats, and your team has to be in the hunt for the college football playoff. Crazier things have happened. Plus 4,000 odds is not insurmountable. We're going to watch it like a hawk and keep this thing covered for you. That's it for us here on The Hard Count. This is CFB with JD. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter to stay up with everything we're doing here. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time.